Greetings, Tarot family. My name's Dr. Tarot. This site is called Take Charge Tarot. And I want to do something a little different than a lot of what is on my site. First of all, I'm just getting my channel started. And concurrently, I have been reading tarot cards for 20 years. So what I have found very interesting is that of late, in watching other online tarot readers and just kind of seeing their deal, I have come across oracle cards. And backtrack. I have had oracle cards, like I had a unicorn deck, a magical unicorn deck by Doreen Virtue. I've had that forever. And I've got a goddess oracle. You get the idea. So I've had like oracle decks, but when it comes to reading for clients or just friends or whatever, I never use those. I only use tarot cards. Almost as though, which is really weird and we'll say paradoxical. And that is that oracle cards, you're going to have to follow this logic. I don't know how clear it's going to be, but let's give it a whirl. For me, I feel like since I'm delivering the message, tarot cards are way more accurate. This is the logic, by the way. I'm not saying this is the truth, the absolute truth. Excuse me, I have a hair on my lips. I'm good now. Yeah, I'm not one to edit, so you're going to see that, and who knows. But anyway, my experience has been, I have been a tarot card reader, so I never use oracle cards for other people. I use them for myself. And what I was getting at just a minute ago is that I felt like the guidance comes through for me way more easily with tarot cards. Whereas with oracle cards, what could be the truth? It's already written there. I know there are different oracles and there are some that have more information than others and so forth. But if you have like a word, like let's say a yes, no question, if it says yes or it says no, I can look at the image and read something into it, certainly. But there's something about the fact that it already has it has its own message, and also tarot is a whole system, right? So anyway, before getting into things, let me say a couple of things just about my history, so I can explain, I guess, why I'm interested in doing a tarot versus oracle card quick, and I sure hope it's quick video. So I'll be using, I have another tarot deck there that I may use, but this Tarot of the Divine, I find it's a really, really cool, first of all, it's an awesome deck, brand new, kind of a favorite of mine. It does follow the Rider-Waite, which is the tradition and the cards that I used to learn and coming up. And the only other deck of cards that I use religiously, actually no, two. Both were homages to Rider-Waite. So that's what I know, that's what I use, that's what I've been trained within. And it's, it's not a bad thing, because what I see, even with newer, just came out, beautiful decks, there is a certain simplicity about it going with the Rider-Waite tradition. So this video is basically just a couple of things to get out of the way. This is very much my perspective. There are other tarot versus oracle card videos out there, but I am bringing just this unique perspective as someone who has been reading tarot cards for 20 years. And just now I'm like, wow, oracle cards are really useful for clients, or even for tarot readings, both clients and, videos I've done for various zodiacal signs. So let's talk about tarot. I'm looking at the time and being like, how is this going to be a 10-minute video? But whatever. If there needs to be a part 2, there will be a part 2. But I just want to absolutely cover this, at least with some kind of generality. So a tarot deck is 78 cards. You've got 22 what are called trump cards or major arcana cards. And those range from the Fool to the World or Universe in different decks. And 56 additional cards, 16 of which are called court cards. And those are typically, again, I'm being very general here, Page, Knight, Queen, and King. I've seen these things called different things. I've seen them in different order. But for the purposes of our video and simplicity, and also really following the Raider White tradition, excuse me, we're going to go with that, okay? And then the, what they call pip cards, or just minor arcana, of which, yes, the court cards are part of it, but we'll just call them pips, I guess, for the nature of, for clarity. We'll call it clarity. Ace, which is 1 through 10. So already there's so much variation going on with, we'll say, like 3 main types: major arcana, court cards, 1 through 10. And by the way, I have just, again, reading for 20 years. I had a teacher for all of those years. She did pass a couple of years ago, rest in peace. And her name's Flash Silvermoon. I should say her, tip my hat, homage to this person. But of late, I have discovered another reader by the name of Lindsay Mack. I'll put her website in the comments below. Why do I say all of this? Because tarot is so rich. I'm not even talking about history. I'm not even talking about symbolism. I'm talking about just a completely ahistorical, just looking at the cards, not knowing one freaking thing, and looking at them, even a very simplistic deck. And I'll talk about that in another video. Decks that purposefully just make the figures very simple. No ornate paintings, no ornate anything, no detail. But tarot in and of itself is so rich, and you can look at those cards and be like, wow. And oftentimes, if you're just starting out, you're like, oh my gosh, where to begin? What should I do? And everybody has their own way. My way, this is 20 years ago, I got a book. I know it's in print still, but it's an oldie. I think it was literally called Learning the Tarot. And I got a deck of cards, and I was in a master's degree program that gave me a lot of time. Not all grad programs give you that. This one did. And I just made that like my part-time job. I mean, I just learned tarot, and it was very intrinsically driven. I very much wanted to learn, but there was a lot to learn. So I understand. See, right now I'll be like, when I teach psychic development or, tarot 101, like absolute beginners, I'm always like, forget the book, forget just what do you see, right? And that's another topic entirely. However, I do want to honor that, yes, especially as someone who likes to know everything. I want to know things because knowing somehow ensures that, ensures that I feel safe, but it also ensures that I can say something and it can be legitimate, or I can legitimize it because I know it to be true. I mean, that's kind of horseshit anyway, but I'm just that's just, I know myself, and that's kind of, that's how my brain works. So, and I also call bullshit on it at the same time. But back to this Lindsay Mack person, who's awesome. I discovered her podcast, and then so I don't need to get too much into it, and there is more detail, and hopefully maybe I'll talk about it in another video. But it just kind of set me on this sort of a reawakening new path of learning the tarot. And I'm so grateful because I probably with more space, I think I can admit this, like more time space, but I think tarot just got kind of stale for me. I mean, let's face it. I mean, after a while you get, like anything, it's a muscle. You get good at it. You're even, sure, I know some people we all have gifts, and some of us have more talent in areas, whatever. And I certainly can admit and sort of honor that I probably come with some predisposition to read tarot well. However, it belongs to everyone and anyone. First of all, backtrack. Everyone has psychic ability, like full stop. And if you want to go at it and argue that, we'll take it to another, we'll take it to another platform, because comments in videos I think are silly places to have real arguments. But this belongs to everybody, and tarot belongs to everybody. And that's a quote from Lindsay. Again, one of those things that like just, it's sort of like they say when you know something is true, it really resonates with what you already know to be true, but someone just put words to it, or maybe they said it at a different time and it just hit you more profoundly. But the point is that as the journey never ends, so I'm a beginner again, and frankly, I'm always a beginner. You're always a beginner, and I think that's the deal with tarot. And I'm going into a lot about this because there is so, and this is an even super rich deck because it has characters from stories and oh, are you upside down? I don't do reversals, so I'll have to look at it. But you know, La Virgen de Guadalupe for the Empress. A lot of people have issues with that. I get it. There's a little controversial, but whatever. There she is. As in controversial to use that Virgin with that particular trump card. But the point is this. I think I keep saying that, don't I? That two things can exist at the same time. Tarot can be complicated. It can have, and again, I'm not dealing with history here. We're not talking about its roots. We're not talking about, just for this video, I'm not dishonoring the history, especially, I'm a history buff, but for the purposes of one who picks up a tarot deck and is just sort of curious, I want to encourage you that it's yours. It doesn't, you don't have to worry about knowing all the things, right? It's alive. It's, you know, in fact, a deck that I've just claimed as my personal deck, I'm carrying it with me all the time. If I'm going through a thing, or, you know, I am in a bit of transition in my life, so I carry it with me. It's a source of comfort. So tarot can be many, many things, obviously for many people, like a lot of things. But I want to encourage that even though there is an entire body of knowledge that goes with the tarot, and there is so much to learn that are in fact accepted ways to see it, you don't have to know any of that shit. And you don't have to subscribe to any of this shit. You don't even have to subscribe to anything I've said. But tarot is for you. A tarot deck is for you. I don't care I don't care who you are. I don't care what your belief system has been or is, or none of it. The democratization of tarot is about the coolest thing I think exists. And it's really not about making it for everybody. It's that it's always been for everybody. Again, tipping my hat to Lindsay Mack. In fact, a quote of hers is, if it doesn't belong to everybody, it can't belong to anybody. And I think that is just, that's brilliant. So there is that. Again, I urge you, I'll put a link at the bottom if you want to take a look at this deck. I'll also put a link to the, or you'll probably find it in the Amazon thing. Anyway, check this deck out. Check this artist out. It's beautiful, affordable. It's not even like an expensive deck. But that's all I have to say about tarot for the moment. I think I'm going to have to probably, I had a feeling this might be a part one. But we'll just not call it anything. We'll just call it Tarot versus Oracle. Now to Oracle cards. Now Oracle cards are very different. So I have tarot cards over here and I've got Oracle cards over here. And the ones I'm using are fabulous to me. So Angel Answers, just a quick thing. So Radley, I'm pretty sure it's Radley Valentine. Now these originally came out in a slightly different form with Doreen Virtue, who has of late, she's renounced all of her work that she did in like angel stuff, and she's like, she's a born again Christian, whatever. Totally cool. No hate on that. Like, we're all our own people doing our spiritual thing. But so he just reissued this. The reason I'm saying all of that is you might find, I'll leave the link there too, but if you're just kind of a natural geek and you like to Google stuff on your own, you may find two different versions. This one and the Doreen Virtue one. All right, so angel answers. What I love about this deck, now I've literally divided it, and he encourages you to do that. I've literally divided it into 3 sections. Now, you know, stick with me for a minute, right? I've got a client. They've got a question. In fact, I had a reading yesterday. I had to clarify each question. Actually, I did. And I didn't pull this, but this comes up for me when someone's just like straight up, yes or no. Do they or do they not love me? Or will I get the inheritance within a month, right? All of these are the yes, no questions. And I literally shuffle them and I'm just like, no, exclamation point. And as a reader, I don't know that I was a purist before, like, oh my gosh, you have to, there's a certain way to do this and this is the way. I don't think I had that going on for myself, but I never, again, I said it before, I never thought to pull an oracle card, how easy that would have been. And this is just as legit as tarot. It's totally different. There's nothing in my estimation. Again, I'm one tarot card psychic reader in the world. So I'm obviously just representing myself in my opinion. You don't need, in fact, if you want to start, I like to push people to tarot because the mystery of tarot and not knowing anything is such a beautiful place. For example, I've had people pull cards for me that don't know squat about tarot. Nothing. And they give me good readings. Again, another topic, I guess now I'm gotten myself into a position where I probably have to put out a little psychic development video. But what I want to say is that if you want instant answers, nothing to know, nothing esoteric, doesn't matter about major arcana, doesn't matter about what this means in relation. Because the other thing is that court cards are each in relation to each other. At least this is my understanding. I'm in the midst of finishing up a deck that I've created, and the cards work in relationship to one another, in tandem. So do the elements. I mean, they're, like I said, it can get deep. It is deep. So you don't have that with oracle cards. This is like called Angel Answers for where's my camera? There it is. It's called Angel Answers for a reason. It gives you the answer like that. Beautiful. And then, so we've got the yes, no cards. We've got the timing cards. When should I date again? Right? So you just, these are all timing, or you can, there's so little cards that I don't really shuffle them. But let's see. And when should I date? Perfect timing. Okay. Looks like now. And then you've got these are general guidance. I mean, it's a beautiful, you can do a whole reading with this deck. I'm not kidding. You really could, and it's legit, and you can charge for it, and you don't have to be like, oh my God, I'm not the real thing. Bullshit. You're reading oracle cards. It's just different. That's all. And, what direction should I go in my career? Oh, and that one popped out. And we got ask for help from others. Okay, great. Oh yeah, and that's something too. If it just pops out like, and there is a picture. I mean, there is an image, I can only speak for myself really, but for me in reading, it's like, you see the image and I kind of cease to be a human, right? I'm just letting guidance come in. This has the same capability. So I'm going to wrap this up because I don't know about you all, but I tend to not watch videos that are past. I mean, that's not 100% true, but generally I don't watch things after like 10, 12 minutes. I'm like, okay, enough. So in honor to those who may be like me, I'm going to wrap it up here and just say the big difference, the verses really, there is no competition. It's simply knowing that this is one thing, this is another thing. These are both legitimate. They are completely different. And at the same time, talk about living in a paradox, you can use them in the same way for a client. If I were a brand new person, newbie, and I was still learning tarot, and my best friend said, oh my God, I'm having all this blah, blah, blah. Please, can you just pull me some cards? I would say, do this. Why? Because this is legit going to help. This is legit going to be a vehicle for you to help your friend. Because at the end of the day, this is a service. This is a gift. We're doing this because we're sharing something with the world that matters. We're not doing it. I mean, it is for entertainment, and that's essentially a legal thing that you have to put in all your videos. But it's a service to humanity. So if you want to really be of service to your best friend, go with these guys if you're still learning the tarot. If you want to read for yourself and you're learning and it's fun, or your best friend is not in crisis and they're like, hey, can you, I don't know, read for me? Totally go tarot, because the world just kind of opens up. And you know what's beautiful about these things? There is no wrong way. There is no wrong way. A huge piece of this, the spirituality of cartomancy, which is what this is called, by the way, reading cards, is it's play. And play, we know, activates parts of your brain that are connected also to spiritual experiences. So it's all beautiful. And I'm sounding like such a hippie, but I don't care. I guess we're all, if we're in this world, we are pretty hippie-ish. But you cannot mess this up, right? So it doesn't need to be a versus, in that they're not in conflict with each other, and they are very different. And it's cool to honor how they're different, you know, and their positive qualities. So I'm at 22 minutes and 5 seconds. Here are the two. And I hope that this helps you. If you've spent 20 minutes watching this video, let's hope you've got something out of this, right? Okay. Blessings to you all. And if you're feeling like you want to give it a thumbs up, please do, and subscribe to my channel. Take care.